Kanye West is no stranger to controversy, but this time, it isn't social media backlash or headlines in the US, it's something far more serious. As Kanye prepares for live shows in Latin America, officials in cities like Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires have issued a warning that stunned fans and the industry alike. If certain lines are crossed on stage, this concert might not just end early, it could end with real consequences. This isn't about cancel culture, it's not about opinions, it's about laws, boundaries, and whether a global superstar could actually face trouble in front of a live audience. So what exactly triggered this warning? Why is this situation different from every Kanye controversy before it, and could a single concert change everything? As Kanye West began planning performances in Latin America, the focus wasn't on ticket sales or stage design, it was on something far more unusual, a warning. Local officials in cities like Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires made it clear that Kanye's upcoming shows would be closely monitored. According to multiple reports, authorities signaled that certain statements or symbols, if used on stage, could lead to immediate consequences. This wasn't framed as a rumor or online outrage, it was described as a preventive measure tied directly to local laws. What made the situation stand out was how direct the messaging appeared to be. The implication wasn't that Kanye's concert might be criticized afterward, but that intervention could happen in real time. For an artist known for pushing boundaries, this marked a very different kind of pressure. And for fans, it raised an unsettling question. Was this just a warning meant to deter controversy, or a real signal that the rules had changed? Kanye West has faced backlash before, a lot of it, but this situation isn't playing out the way his past controversies did. In the United States, even the most extreme statements often trigger public outrage, brand fallout, or platform restrictions. Legal consequences, especially tied directly to live performances, are rare. Latin American countries operate under very different legal frameworks. In places like Brazil and Argentina, certain forms of speech, symbolism, or public messaging are not just controversial, they can be explicitly restricted by law, particularly when they intersect with hate-related regulations or public safety concerns. That means intent matters less than impact, and enforcement doesn't wait for public opinion to settle. This is why the warning carried real weight. It wasn't coming from promoters or critics, it was coming from authorities responsible for enforcing local law during public events. For the first time in years, Kanye wasn't just navigating reputation risk, he was navigating jurisdictional risk. And that raises a bigger question: what exactly pushed officials to take this step now? The warning didn't appear out of nowhere. In the months leading up to these planned shows, Kanye had already drawn global attention for a series of statements and actions that sparked intense backlash across multiple countries. While some of those moments were debated as opinion or performance, reports suggest authorities were focused on patterns, not a single incident. According to coverage surrounding the concerts, officials were concerned about the possibility of past rhetoric resurfacing in a live setting where context, intent, and control become far more unpredictable. A concert isn't a tweet that can be deleted or a post that can be taken down. It's a public gathering with thousands of people present in real time. That distinction matters. When an artist has a history of provoking strong reactions, authorities don't wait for something to happen. They prepare for what could happen. And in this case, preparations reportedly included clear boundaries about what would not be tolerated on stage. Nothing had happened yet. No law had been broken, but the message was unmistakable. This time, there would be very little room for error. The idea of an artist being stopped mid-performance sounds extreme, but legally, it isn't impossible. In many countries, live events operate under strict public safety and compliance rules. If a performer is believed to be violating local law in real time, especially in front of a large crowd, authorities don't have to wait until the show ends. Intervention can happen immediately. That's what made this situation feel so serious. Unlike past controversies that played out online or through media statements, a concert leaves no buffer. There's no edit button, no delay. Everything happens live in front of witnesses, cameras, and officials tasked with enforcement. Reports suggest that if certain lines were crossed, action wouldn't depend on public reaction afterward. It would depend on whether authorities believed the moment itself met the threshold for intervention. For Kanye, that creates a rare dilemma: perform as unpredictably as he's known for, or step onto the stage knowing every word carries potential consequences. And with that pressure hanging over the show, one question becomes unavoidable. As the warning circulated, many expected a response from Kanye West, a statement, a denial, even a clarification, but none came. There was no public announcement addressing the reported concerns, No direct reassurance to fans, and no clear indication that anything about the shows would change. Instead, what followed was silence, and in situations like this, silence can be just as telling as a response. For some, the lack of comment suggested confidence. For others, it raised more questions. Was the situation being handled privately behind the scenes? Were legal teams already involved? Or was the controversy being ignored altogether? What made the silence stand out was timing. With attention growing and speculation spreading, most artists would attempt to control the narrative. Kanye didn't, and that uncertainty only added to the tension surrounding the performances, because without clarity, every possibility remained on the table, including what might happen once the lights went up and the music started. Even if nothing happens on stage, the warning alone carries weight. For an artist like Kanye West, international performances have become increasingly important. They represent access to audiences beyond US platforms, brands, and institutions that have distanced themselves. But when live shows come with legal uncertainty, that access becomes fragile. Promoters become cautious, venues reassess risk, cities ask harder questions before approving events. And for Kanye, this moment highlights a reality he hasn't faced before. Global boundaries aren't negotiable. What might spark outrage in one country can trigger enforcement in another. That shift forces a choice: adapt to the rules of each stage or accept shrinking space to perform. This isn't about one concert, it's about whether future tours become harder to plan, harder to ensure, and harder to approve. Because once authorities step in, even with a warning, the industry pays attention. And that leaves one final question hanging over everything. For now, Kanye West's concerts are still moving forward. No arrests, no cancellations, no final decisions made public. But the warning itself has already changed the conversation. For the first time, the risk surrounding a Kanye performance isn't just reputational, it's legal. And once that line is crossed, there's no guarantee how fast things can escalate. So the real question isn't whether something will happen, it's whether this moment marks a turning point, where unpredictability finally meets boundaries that won't bend. Would authorities actually step in if the line were crossed? Or is the warning enough to keep everything under control? One concert could answer that.